Our topic today is one that resonates deeply with every human being who has ever dared to dream big, no risk, no story. Let me ask you a question. When you look back on your life from the vantage point of old age, what kind of story do you want to tell? Will it be a tale of caution and missed opportunities? Or will it be an epic saga of bold decisions, calculated risks, and remarkable triumphs? You see, life is not a dress rehearsal. We don't get a practice run. This is it. This is your one and only chance to create a life story worth telling. And I'm here to tell you that without risk, there is no story. Think about it for a moment. Every great achievement in human history, every breakthrough, every innovation, every act of courage that has inspired millions, they all have one thing in common. They all involved risk. When Thomas Edison attempted to invent the light bulb, he didn't play it safe. He took a risk. When Martin Luther King Jr. stood up for civil rights, he didn't choose the easy path. He took a risk. When the Wright brothers decided to fly, they didn't keep their feet on the ground. They took a risk. And here's the truth, that many people don't want to face your life will be defined not by the risks you avoided, but by the risks you embraced. Now, I can almost hear some of you thinking, but Brian, risk is scary. Risk means I might fail, and you're absolutely right. Risk does mean you might fail. But let me share with you a perspective that will change the way you look at failure forever. Failure is not the opposite of success. Failure is a part of success. It's a stepping stone on the path to greatness. Every successful person you admire has failed numerous times. The difference is they didn't let failure stop them. They understood that each failure was a lesson, each setback a setup for a comeback. Consider this. If you're not failing, you're not pushing your limits. And if you're not pushing your limits, you're not maximizing your potential. The most successful people in the world are those who have failed the most, because they're the ones who have tried the most. So I want you to start seeing risk not as something to be feared, but as an opportunity to be seized. Risk is your ticket to a life of excitement, growth, and fulfillment. It's your chance to write a story that will inspire others and leave a lasting legacy. Now, let's talk about the anatomy of risk. Understanding this will help you approach risk-taking with confidence and strategy. First, there's calculated risk. This is not about being reckless or impulsive. It's about doing your homework, weighing the pros and cons, and making an informed decision. It's about having the courage to act when the potential rewards outweigh the potential losses. Second, there's the risk of inaction. This is perhaps the most dangerous risk of all, because it doesn't feel like a risk at all. It feels safe. But in reality, choosing not to act, choosing to stay in your comfort zone, is a huge risk. It's the risk of regret, of unfulfilled potential, of a life half lived. Third, there's the risk of growth. Every time you push yourself to learn something new, to take on a challenge that stretches your abilities, you're taking a risk. You're risking temporary discomfort for long-term gain. And this is the kind of risk that leads to personal and professional development. Now, I want you to think about a time in your life when you took a significant risk. Maybe it was changing careers, starting a business, or pursuing a relationship. Remember how it felt. The excitement, the anticipation, the fear, the adrenaline, that's what it feels like to be truly alive. And here's the beautiful thing. The more you embrace risk, the more comfortable you become with it. It's like a muscle that gets stronger with use. Each risk you take builds your confidence, expands your capabilities, and opens up new opportunities. But let's be clear, I'm not advocating for reckless behavior or unnecessary danger. What I'm talking about is intelligent risk-taking. It's about pushing beyond your comfort zone in pursuit of your goals and dreams. So how do you become an intelligent risk-taker? Let me share with you 5 key principles that will help you embrace risk and create a compelling life story. Principle number 1, know your why. Before you take any significant risk, you need to be crystal clear about your motivation. What's driving you? What's the bigger picture? When you have a strong enough why, you'll find a way to overcome any obstacle. Your why is your compass. It's what will keep you going when things get tough, when doubt creeps in, when others question your decisions. So take the time to define your purpose, your mission, your vision for your life. Make it so compelling that it pulls you forward, even in the face of fear and uncertainty. Principle number 2, do your homework. Intelligent risk-taking is not about jumping blindly into the unknown. It's about gathering information, analyzing possibilities, and making informed decisions. The more knowledge you have, the more confident you'll feel about taking risks. Research, seek advice from experts. Learn from those who have gone before you. Knowledge reduces uncertainty and gives you the tools to navigate challenges. Remember, fortune favors the prepared mind. Principle number 3, start small and build momentum. You don't have to risk everything all at once. Start with smaller risks and gradually work your way up. Each small risk you take and overcome builds your confidence and prepares you for bigger challenges. Maybe you start by speaking up in a meeting when you usually stay quiet. Then you volunteer to lead a project. Then you apply for a promotion. Each step builds on the last, creating a momentum of success and boosting your risk-taking muscles. Principle number 4, embrace failure as a teacher. Here's a fundamental truth: you will fail. It's not a matter of if, but when. The key is to change your relationship with failure. Instead of seeing it as a dead end, see it as a detour. Instead of seeing it as a judgment on your worth, see it as valuable feedback. Every failure is an opportunity to learn, to grow, to refine your approach. The most successful people in the world have failed more times than most people have even tried. They understand that failure is not the opposite of success. It's a part of success. Principle number 5, celebrate your risks, not just your successes. Too often we only celebrate the end result. But the act of taking a risk is worthy of celebration in itself. When you step out of your comfort zone, when you face your fears, when you try something new, that's a victory, regardless of the outcome. By celebrating the act of risk-taking, you reinforce the behavior and make it easier to take risks in the future. You're training your brain to associate risk with positive emotions rather than fear and anxiety. Now, let's talk about the cost of not taking risks, because make no mistake, playing it safe comes at a price. The first cost is the cost of unrealized potential. Inside each of you is a wellspring of untapped abilities, ideas, and dreams. But these will remain dormant unless you take the risk to explore them, to nurture them, to bring them to life. Think about all the inventions that were never created, the businesses that were never started, the relationships that never blossomed, all because someone was too afraid to take a risk. Don't let your potential remain unfulfilled. Don't die with your music still in you. The second cost is the cost of regret. Studies have shown that at the end of their lives, people regret not the risks they took, but the risks they didn't take. They regret the chances they didn't seize, the adventures they didn't embark on, the love they didn't pursue. Regret is a heavy burden to carry. It's the weight of what if, and if only. Don't let fear of failure rob you of the joy of trying. Remember, it's better to look back and say, I can't believe I did that, than to look back and say, I wish I had done that. The third cost is the cost of stagnation. In a world that's constantly changing, standing still is actually moving backward. If you're not taking risks, you're not growing. And if you're not growing, you're dying. Growth requires stepping into the unknown, challenging your assumptions, pushing your boundaries. It's uncomfortable, yes. It's risky, absolutely. But it's also exhilarating, rewarding, and ultimately necessary for a fulfilling life. Now, I want to address a common misconception about risk-taking. Many people believe that some individuals are naturally risk-takers, while others are naturally risk-averse. But the truth is, risk-taking is a skill that can be developed just like any other skill. It starts with your mindset. Do you see risk as a threat or an opportunity? Do you focus on what could go wrong or what could go right? By shifting your perspective, you can change your relationship with risk. Next, it's about practice. Like any skill, the more you do it, the better you get at it. Start small. Take tiny risks every day. Step slightly out of your comfort zone. As you build your risk-taking muscles, you'll find yourself capable of taking on bigger and bigger challenges. It's also about reframing failure. Instead of seeing failure as a reflection of your worth, see it as a data point. It's information that you can use to refine your approach, to make better decisions in the future. Every failure brings you one step closer to success. Remember, the goal isn't to eliminate fear. Fear is a natural and even useful emotion. The goal is to act in spite of fear, to feel the fear and do it anyway. That's what courage is all about. Now, let's talk about the rewards of risk-taking. Because while there's no guarantee that every risk will pay off, the cumulative effect of intelligent risk-taking is transformative. First, there's personal growth. Every risk you take stretches you, challenges you, forces you to tap into resources you didn't know you had. You discover strengths you never knew existed. You develop resilience, adaptability, and problem-solving skills that serve you in all areas of life. Right? Second, there's the thrill of achievement. There's nothing quite like the feeling of accomplishing something you weren't sure you could do. It's a rush of confidence, of pride, of pure joy. And this feeling becomes addictive in the best possible way, spurring you on to even greater challenges. Third, there's the expansion of possibilities. Each risk you take opens up new doors, new opportunities, new pathways that you couldn't have accessed otherwise. Your world literally becomes bigger, richer, more exciting. Fourth, there's the development of a success mindset. As you take risks and overcome challenges, you start to see yourself as someone who can handle whatever life throws at you. This confidence permeates every aspect of your life, leading to even greater success. Finally, there's the satisfaction of living life on your own terms. When you're willing to take risks, you're no longer at the mercy of circumstances. You become the author of your own story, the captain of your own ship. And there's an incredible sense of freedom and empowerment in that. Now, I want to share with you a powerful exercise that can help you become a more effective risk taker. It's called the best case, worst case, most likely case scenario planning. Here's how it works whenever you're faced with a risky decision. Take a moment to consider 3 possible outcomes. First, imagine the best case scenario. What's the absolute best thing that could happen if you take this risk? Allow yourself to dream big here. Visualize it in vivid detail. Next, consider the worst case scenario. What's the absolute worst thing that could happen? Be honest with yourself, but don't catastrophize. Remember, very rarely does the worst case scenario actually come to pass. Finally, think about the most likely scenario. Based on your knowledge and experience, what do you think is the most probable outcome? Now, here's the key. Ask yourself if you can live with the worst case scenario. If the answer is yes, and if the best case or even the most likely case is appealing, then it's probably a risk worth taking. This exercise helps you make more balanced decisions. It prevents you from being overly optimistic or pessimistic, and it gives you a framework for evaluating risks objectively. But remember, at the end of the day, data can only take you so far. There comes a point where you have to trust your gut, take a deep breath, and leap. As we near the end of our time together, I want to leave you with a challenge. I want you to commit to taking one significant risk in the next 30 days. It could be in your personal life, your career, your relationships, anywhere that matters to you. Choose something that scares you a little or a lot. Choose something that excites you. Choose something that, if it works out, could change your life for the better. Write it down, make a plan, set a deadline, and then most importantly, take action. Remember, the universe rewards action. Nothing happens until you move. Until you take that first step, until you make that leap, your dreams remain just that, dreams. But when you take action, when you embrace risk, that's when the magic happens. That's when you start to write a story worth telling. And speaking of stories, I want you to start thinking of your life as a story that you're actively writing. Each risk you take is a new chapter. Each challenge you overcome is a plot twist. Each failure is character development. Ask yourself, what kind of story do I want to write? What kind of character do I want to be? What kind of legacy do I want to leave? Because here's the truth: your life is your message to the world. Make sure it's inspiring. In conclusion, remember, this life rewards courage. It rewards those who dare to dream, who dare to try, who dare to fail, and who dare to get up and try again. So embrace risk. See it not as something to be feared, but as a gateway to growth, to achievement, to a life of meaning and purpose. Remember, no risk, no story. And you, my friends, have the power to write an epic tale. A tale of courage, of perseverance, of triumph over adversity. A tale that will inspire others long after you're gone. So go forth and take risks. Go forth and write your story. Go forth and live a life so full, so rich, so daring that when you reach the end, you can look back with a smile and say, now that was one hell of an adventure. Thank you, and remember your greatest life is waiting on the other side of your comfort zone. Embrace risk and embrace the extraordinary life you were meant to live.